The Department of Public Works and Highways is targeting the completion of around 5,700 flood mitigation projects between 2025 and 2026. That's according to DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Now, these include both minor flood control works and large-scale projects across the country's 18 major river basins. Since June 2022, the agency has completed nearly 9,900 flood control projects nationwide. Bonoan said technical reviews are underway to ensure these efforts can better withstand the impacts of climate change. President Bongbong Marcos has also ordered agencies to explore flood water collection for irrigation during the dry season. Let's discuss that further with Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan, now joining us on the line. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Secretary.
Magandang umaga, Gretchen. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga listeners at bye-bye po.
Secretary, naalala ko ho, we had you on the show last year around this time on The Big Story. And tinanong po namin kayo kung may master plan po ba ang Pilipinas pagdating sa flood control. Ang sabi po ninyo, nung panahon na yon, meron po pero marami. Kumbaga parang bawat LGU ay may kanya-kanyang master plan. Have we figured out how to integrate all of these, 1 year after?
Well, that is the biggest challenge actually that we are actually facing actually, Gretchen. But what I meant before is actually that we have had completed the master plans in the 18 major river basins. No? Ito major river basins are the floodways that interconnects not only a province but among provinces all over the country. No? There are 18 major river basins from north to south. No? So there are completed master plans in this, and these are the projects that we're implementing in these major river basins. Aside from, of course, yung local flood control projects that are also being implemented by the department. No?
Oh, yes. Pag sinabi niyo pong 18 major river basins, ibig sabihin po this yung sakop po nito ay maraming LGU in one river basin. Is that correct?
Maraming provinces, in fact. For example, Pampanga River Basin that interconnects Nueva Ecija, Bulacan, Pampanga. Yun ang mga... And of course, Pasig Marikina River Basin interconnects, of course, from Rizal, Marikina, and all the way to Metro Manila. And of course, yung ganon, these are the major river basins that we are talking about. In northern Luzon, there are also several river basins, Cagayan River Basin, that interconnects Nueva Vizcaya, Isabela, Cagayan, Ifugao, Abayo, things like this. No, these are big rivers that interconnect provinces actually. These are basins natin.
Pagdating ho sa ganun, sino po ang may jurisdiction or sino po ang nagmamando? Pagdating po sa, these are infrastructure projects, kailangan po dumaan ito sa mga iba't ibang syudad, pati mga permit, pati na rin po yung mga right-of-way issues. Who is resolving all of that?
Under the River Basin Program, it's the Department of Public Works and Highways that oversee the implementation of the projects that this master plan. Kasi ito, interprovincial na, so to speak, no, yung ginagawa namin dito. But of course, all these are being coordinated, of course, in the provinces that are being traversed by these rivers actually.
Okay, so it is the DPWH that is responsible for bringing everybody together. But siguro po, itatanong ko lang po, bakit po kaya may matinding pagbaha? Yun po yung paulit-ulit na tinatanong po ng taong bayan. Despite the 1 trillion budget given to the DPWH to flood control since 2009, bakit po kaya hindi pa ito masolusyonan?
Well, I think there have been some projects. I think most of the projects that have been implemented, as we can see, are actually projects that only are giving immediate relief to low-lying areas. No? And river basins are actually in the process of being implemented at this point in time. There are a few more there are several river basins that are still in in preparation stage. No? So, but yung other local infrastructure flood control projects over the years these projects are actually projects that are just giving immediate relief to low-lying areas. One thing that we have noticed actually, Gretchen, is actually the flood control projects have not really addressed actually the issue of very riverbeds natin are very, very shallow. Very shallow, and there has not been any dredging or the silting of operations that have been undertaken. So you can just imagine, if the riverbeds are very shallow, then any downpour, the flood water should just overflow the river banks. These are mga challenges that we are actually undertaking within this administration actually.
Ibig sabihin po yung 5,500 or 5,700 flood projects ay nakafocus dun sa immediate relief po na nababanggit po ninyo?
Yung 5,000 that we have been saying includes actually also some of the major river basins program that we are undertaking. No? Yeah. Of course, marami rin yung local projects that we have been implementing also. So,
pag sinabi po natin immediate relief, ano po yun? Yung po yung mga pumping station?
Hindi. Iba yung yung kami na immediate protection like we construct yung revetment walls para hindi agad-agad mapaw marlang yung tubig baha pag dumating yung mga rainy season. Yung mga ganon. But aside from that, I think we of course realize that the revetment walls will last only for a few years actually if we do not address actually siltation that is going on in mga rivers, mga riverbeds. No? So ito yung sinasabi natin, yung siltations are of course concern of environment. No? Kasi mga kabundukan natin, the erosion is very very prevalent and actually pumupunta na sa mga daluyan natin mga ilog. So we also have to address actually mga environmental issues now para maibsan din natin yung madalas na pag-siltation ng mga ating mga ilog. Yung mga gano'n. In Metro Manila, I think Metro Manila is a different story all in all actually. Because the flooding that we are experiencing in Metro Manila is actually caused by the internal drainage. Internal drainage because the flood waters in Metro Manila kasi naiipon na sa ating mga lugar na mismo, hindi na makatabi sa mga drainage systems natin in Metro Manila towards dumping stations.
Oh, and what can the DPWH do? It has been granted 254 billion this year for the flood management program, and we do know that it was a contentious issue in the budget when the DPWH got a higher allocation po, ano? So, kumbaga may pera naman po. Ano po ang maaaring gawin ng DPWH in the next 3 years of the administration to be able to fix this problem within Metro Manila? Let's zone in on Metro Manila.
Well, aside from Metro Manila, yung sinasabi nating budget allocation is all over the country, no? It's all over the country. So we just have to see to it that the projects that we are going to implement are actually worthwhile and to address actually the flooding problems as we can see it, especially that because of yung climate change phenomenon. It's a totally different phenomenon as we have been addressing before, no? Sa flood control projects. And because of this phenomenon, we need to revisit actually our design standards to make sure that the structures that we are building are more resilient and actually mas matibay para sa ating hinaharap na malalakas na ulan at malalakas na pagdaloy ng tubig bahas sa ating mga rivers. Yan ang namin. So in fact, we have actually revised technical parameters that we are using before. No? Because I can remember that when before we have been using only yung, it's a very technical term, but I think for purposes of comparison lang, ginagamit namin nito is either 15 years return period to 25 years return period. No? Yung design standard namin ngayon, we're now actually adopting anywhere between 50 years return period to 100 years return period, particularly in major flood control structures.
Oo, pero Secretary, meron po bang plano, to update the whole drainage system? Because kayo na rin po nagsabi na matanda na nga po itong mga drainage natin sa Metro Manila. Instead of actually doing the EDSA rehabilitation, is it possible to zone in, to focus on the whole drainage system, and what would it take to actually update this?
Well, there is a component under the ongoing World Bank-assisted flood management program for Metro Manila to update actually the drainage system in Metro Manila because it's a major undertaking that have to be undertaken to mitigate actually flooding in Metro Manila. Now, there are other components that are included in this program, like we also have to rehabilitate yung mga pumping stations that were constructed mga 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And, well, this is the component that is being undertaken by DPWH, that we have to upgrade the discharge capacities of these pumping stations. The volume of water that is being catered to these pumping stations are much larger than before. So we are now upgrading the pumping stations, about 35 of them, 35 pumping stations in Metro Manila, and we'll complete all this upgrading by next year. But then again, even if we upgrade these pumping stations, if we cannot address also waste management, yung mga basura napapasok sa mga drainage, and of course yung resettlement issues. Kasi marami pa rin tayo mga kababayan na nandiyan sa mga gilid-gilid na mga esteros and so forth and so on. So, land use plans, also a major issue. May mga ganito. And, it's somebody, unfortunately in Metro Manila kasi, all the cities have their own plans, and in Manila, the challenge is how to integrate all of this into one.
Oo. Pero si MMDA po ba has jurisdiction over that?
Well, of course, MMDA has jurisdiction, but I can also see the predicament of MMDA because it's a coordinating body, but it's not that, I don't know if there's the full authority over all the local government. So, well, at any rate, I think this is a program that is included into the World Bank financial, World Bank assisted program for Metro Manila.
Okay, would you be open to a congressional investigation into this and how to actually have a central flood master plan? Marami rin po kasi sa mga senador nagtatanong, isang po napunta yung budget at bakit nga po?
Yes, I think hindi naman yung, we can, sa administration na ito, I can only answer for this administration that the projects that may be implemented, we are open to show kung saan napunta yung mga ginawa dito sa administrasyon na ito, and it's only for the 3 years. Now,
Okay.
I cannot answer for the past, but I think whatever we implemented on this administration, we can show it to where they were implemented. And how
This
they're
seems to
functioning
be
now.
a more urgent, immediate problem than the EDSA highway. If you ask me, sana po mapagtuunan po natin ng resources at ng
Yes,
pansin.
EDSA, well, the only thing that they're proposing for EDSA is because it's a 50-year-old pavement. And anytime soon, when it breaks, it's going to break. And it will cost more. Actually, that's why we are saying that we also need to see how we can rehabilitate EDSA at the earliest possible time before it breaks. Once the pavement breaks, it's going to be exponential. And you cannot prevent it anymore.
Ano pong update doon? Meron na pong mandate ang presidente?
Yes, no, I think the president, because he just wants to, he does not want to prolong the suffering of the traveling public. So he instructed the department to look into technologies and processes that could expedite implementation of the rehabilitation. And we are just about coming up with recommendations.
All right, maraming salamat po for your time today and for answering our questions. We have Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Thank you so much for joining us.